Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Aisha Subarkash. Twin blasts at a commemoration marking former Iranian military commander Qassem Soleimani's death has killed at least 84 people in the country's southeast. This came right after the assassination of Hamas deputy chief Saleh al-Arouri in Beirut. Iran's President Ebrahim Raisi had to cancel his visit to Turkiye, where he would have held talks with his counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan, most specifically about the situation in Gaza. After the explosions in Kerman city, for which Daesh claimed responsibility, Erdogan said Turkey supports Iran in its fight against terrorism, while Raisi told a crowd in Tehran that the Zionist regime will pay the price. Both countries support Hamas in Israel's war on Gaza. Since the Palestinian resistance group carried out an incursion in Israeli cities on October 7, the US-backed nation has retaliated with air and ground attacks on the enclave, killing more than 22,000 Palestinians. While Tel Aviv have vowed to kill Hamas leaders wherever they are, Lebanon's Foreign Minister Abdallah Bou Habib says the country is afraid of being dragged into a wider regional war. And now, as the US and its allies have warned Yemen's Houthis, backed by Iran, for its attacks on commercial ships in the Red Sea, could there be even bigger threats ahead for the Middle East? And to discuss latest tensions in the Middle East and possible spillover effect of the Gaza conflict, joining me now from Doha is Mahjoub Ziveri. He is the Director of Gulf Studies at Qatar University. And from Istanbul, Vehbi Baysan is an Associate Professor at Ibn Khaldun University. Gentlemen, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the program. So, Mahjoub, what's your take on the latest military strikes in Lebanon and terror attacks in Iran within a week? Where is the region headed?
I think every incident has its own circumstances. The one in Beirut, it was an Israeli plan. It was announced previously to target Hamas leaders, and basically they decided to do it on last Friday. I think it happens in the context of the conflict in Gaza. What happened in Iran, I think it's different context. I think the conflict is there is an I would say an absent and anger of Iran from some parties, maybe some of them in Israel, and maybe the United States as well. I think what happened was a message that Iran should stop playing any negative role in the conflict in Gaza. So the message to Iran was different. It was targeting its own security. In Beirut, it was targeting Hamas in particular, and also a message to Hezbollah. It is a week in Beirut.
So, Vehbi, have these latest attacks, both in Lebanon and Iran, changed the focus from what's been happening in Gaza over the last 3 months and leading to the possibility of a wider regional conflict?
Well, we hope not, but certainly it's not contributing to the a peaceful Middle East, because this aggression still continues. The tension is there, and it's daily on increase. If you look at what's happening in Gaza and how people are killed en masse, massacred, and they can't even defend themselves, and they're cornered in a really small spot geographically. And also look at down south, what Yemen, of course, reacting to aggression, Israeli aggression, and that's also affecting the world trade and business. And up north in Lebanon, you have, always caught in the middle, the Lebanon, yes. All these groups in fight against Israel's aggression. So I think it's extremely sensitive, and we just hope doesn't escalate no more than this. But it's like probably needs a spark to go on all-out war in the Middle East. It's very dangerous.
So, Mahjoub, what's the significance of the killing of Hamas's senior leader, Saleh al-Arouri, in Lebanon? And, has this weakened Hamas enough for Israel to win the war, so-called war, in Gaza?
I think Hamas has already have lost many of its own leaders in the last 20 years. And actually, it becomes stronger and stronger. I think Israelis were looking for a meaning of the victory, so they can present their own public opinion and trying to, especially the government, Netanyahu's government. I think the assassination of al-Arouri, because he was actually hitting them hard in the last 15 years. He's basically brought a strong resistance to the West Bank, which they did not like, and also he was a defender of Palestinian unity, and Netanyahu in person doesn't want this. I think by killing basically al-Arouri is just a message that they have achieved something. In reality, to the Palestinian, to Hamas, they are ready for this, and they consider it part of the fuel to have more actually resistance in the future. And that is how they define it already.
So, VP Hamas says al-Arouri's death will not go unpunished. On the other hand, Israel says it is ready for a Hezbollah retaliation and troops are on high alert. So what should be expected? I mean, do you expect the situation to escalate further?
Well, probably, because it was a prominent figure, and this happened in another country, basically in Lebanon, and it was a targeted assassination in a way. So that also basically confirms what Israel said earlier, that they're going to be targeting senior Hamas representatives. So it is very dangerous, and you're in a internationally recognized and a member of United Nations, a country you're talking about, and you go in their territory and kill people. So obviously Hamas will be probably retaliating, but Hezbollah's response will be very important in that regard, because it's under their control, under their protection in a sense, and Israel constantly killing people in that, including the international journalists, are clearly marked areas. So probably it's going to escalate more. That's what my take on this.
So, Majid, very quickly, I mean, does Lebanon risk being dragged into a full-scale war now, as claimed by the country's foreign minister?
I don't think so. I think Hezbollah, neither Iran, they wanted to engage in any kind of conflict now. The response, they may come late. They are waiting for the day after this war in Gaza. They don't want to mix the cards and to mix the issues, because they believe that if they have done anything, Netanyahu personally will benefit from this politically, and he will be stronger. I think everyone knows that, first of all, Gaza war should stop immediately, and then any reaction can happen later on, maybe after Netanyahu himself is out of government.
So VP, Daesh has claimed responsibility for the Kerman twin terror attacks, which were the deadliest attacks targeting Iran since the Islamic Revolution in 1979. So how significant is this, which came just a day after the Beirut bombings? I mean, why has Daesh attacked Iranians?
Well, even international observers who have a really good experience about the region cannot, kind of have a conclusive remarks on this. Let's remember that in the early hours of the twin terror attack, the Iranian authorities blamed terrorists, described it as a terror attack, and blamed United States of America as well as Israel. So almost everyone thought that it would be Israel behind it, because Israel neither confirmed nor denied. So Daesh, in my view, at least this is the way I see it, came as a great surprise. I mean, because Qassem Soleimani was a prominent figure, but he was assassinated by, at least not by Daesh. So, and they don't have much terror attacks in Iran. So we don't know whether it's going to be the first of its series, is the attacks will continue, if it is true, if the claim true, but they're even giving the names of the people who came to that shrine as wearing a suicide belt. So it came as a big surprise.
Many unknowns. So, Majid, 4 years ago, the Tehran administration has vowed to avenge its general's killing by the U.S. Now, do you expect a different response from Iran, as tensions are also rising in the Red Sea?
I'm not sure that Iran, again, has interest to have any action now, because they believe it will help Netanyahu. The major important point, I'm not sure they are buying the statement that Daesh was behind that. I think the Iranian believe that what happened in Kerman was generated and supported by government and intelligence of some government. So this is not really being bought by the Iranians. I think the Iranians now, they are trying to react, but the reaction, again, it will not be soon. They don't want to give Israel any opportunity to mix the situation in the region and reshuffle the cards, as they say. They want to make sure that the focus on Gaza now, and they kept their hands open for reaction later after the war. None of the parties now want to be engaged in any kind of side confrontation. What happened in the Red Sea is linked to Gaza, because the message is, as long as there is no food, no water into Gaza, Israelis, they will not have ships going to their ports and from other ports. So what happened in the Red Sea is targeting Israel in particular. It's only the United States try to globalize this and make it international crisis. And I think that is part of the Israeli pattern to internationalize the war in Gaza and make it a global war that Netanyahu is waging on behalf of the West against what he tried to sell Daesh and terrorism.
So, VP, how dangerous is this situation in the Red Sea? We all know that the U.S. is accusing Iran of supplying weapons and intelligence to the Houthis, who are targeting commercial ships until they will stop when Israel stops bombing Gaza. So, in a way, is Iran also poised to be dragged into the conflict directly?
Well, since since 7th October, when Hamas militants, did what they did, Iran always put in the target, and Israeli officials always blamed Iran. So Iran, it seems that Israel cannot develop any international policy, or at least regional policy, without blaming Iran. So they want desperately Iran in. So let's begin with it. Gaza has only two entry points or exit points, one towards Israel, one towards Egypt. So if Iran delivered all these guns and weapons, and good for them, but nobody explains how they did that. So again, putting Iran, assisting Houthis in Yemen, well, I'm sure Houthis would welcome all these aid and etc. But I have serious doubts, and many academics in Turkey that I speak have the same doubts, whether Iran has this much extended influence in the region and somehow always targeting Israel. So I think also international observers very skeptical about these accusations, but certainly we cannot deny that the policy is to drag Iran into this conflict.
Yes.
So Iran will probably be easy bite for them, at least that's what they think, but it may escalate tension further in the region.
All right, gentlemen, unfortunately, we are out of time. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.